My name is Basma Al-Sulaiman. I come from Saudi Arabia. I've been in the art world for many, many years. This is how I met Pearl. It's a journey. Art world is a journey, and I took that journey, and I loved every bit of it.
You were one of the first person who started a virtual museum.
I was obsessed with that art. Ask me why, how, I don't know.
Hello, this is Pearl Lam Podcast. Now I'm sitting at the temporary home of my very dear friend Basma Al-Sulaiman. And I think in the past we have done an FT interview together. So now, unfortunately, her home, having a fire and at his neighbor home, so she could not move in for 9 months. So
Even
now,
more.
Maybe even more.
It's so sad.
And now I'm at her temporary home doing our podcast. Basma, can you introduce yourself? Because a lot of audience, they don't know the art world. They don't know what you have contributed to the art world. It would be great if you...
Yes. My name is Basma Al-Sulaiman. I come from Saudi Arabia. And I've been in the art world for many, many years. This is how I met Pearl. And now, it's a journey. Art world is a journey. And I took that journey, and I loved every bit of it. So to put things in context, Saudi Arabia the modern Saudi Arabia is a very young country. And it was established in the 1932. And before that, it was a very modest country with very limited resources. Nomads. After the 38, the oil was discovered. And from there on, the transformation happened, where at the early stages, the focus and the concentration was to build a country, to build the infrastructure, the education, the health system, everything. So that was the focus. So art and culture was not a top priority at that stage.
But you were one of the first person who started a virtual museum.
Exactly.
Called BASMOCA.
Yes, that's true. And this was part of my journey. My journey went through exploration, went through education, went through many stages until I amassed a collection that I thought I was ready to share it with the world. Physical space was not convenient at that time, so I went towards technology, and I created the BASMOCA Virtual Museum in 2011. That was the beginning.
And for the audience to know, the technology of BASMOCA it was based on Second Life. So the Second Life, if I'm right?
Yes, that was the beginning.
It was the Second Life, the whole concept, the technicians built the BASMOCA. And so you go in there, there's an avatar and brings you everywhere. And can you imagine 2011? That was amazing.
Yes, exactly. And the platform was used for many things, but I used it to create a museum. But then it was limiting, and I could not do what I want. It crashed, and so on. So I created my own platform, which was the BASMOCA world. This is where I had my museum. I was able to create
your metaverse.
And this is the technology that is still used now. I used it already back in 2011.
How amazing technology as well. I mean, what is interesting for me, Basma, is I've known you for at least more than a decade.
Much more than a decade. 2004, 5.
Yeah,
this is when we met.
I mean, wow, my
20
God,
years.
I'm so old.
We're not going to speak about that.
What I was amazed when I first met you, a Saudi collecting Chinese art and a Chinese major collector. That was really quite shocking for me. Yeah. Saudi, what is the connection? I thought Saudi is a desert. And these ladies I met, my God, not that they are educated, they're curious. I remember you were telling me with all your groups of Middle Eastern friends, every week there is 2 times you were inviting professors to come to teach you to talk about history, politics, philosophy, whatever, which is
Everything.
everything. So when you go for social function or even at dinners, you all are very well versed. And the most important thing is that curiosity is something that I really amazed, because I haven't seen any of my contemporaries or in China, ladies are so interested to be so self-cultivated.
Yeah.
So I was having a shock of the world. Beside that, why would Saudi likes Chinese art? And then I realized that you have all those political pop work.
Oh, like I was obsessed with that art. Ask me why, how, I don't know.
I think your last life must be
Must
Chinese.
I have been Chinese? I always told you that, like in 2000 when I moved to London, the first thing I did a course. I took a diploma in contemporary and modern and contemporary art, and from there on, I started to look at art coming from different cultures, and I loved the one that came from China because there was a big message, there was challenge, there was like there was a love for life and wanting to belong, and I thought that was fresh. And not only me, the whole world was obsessed with Chinese art. But what helped me remember is that after that period I went to China, and
Yes.
when my daughter
Yeah, when your
lived in
daughter was in
China. So
China.
this again exposed me to so much culture, history, art, and that was where it really enriched my experience. And about the curiosity, because look, Saudi Arabia, the position of women there is is very, like, is not very clear at that moment. It was a bit challenging, a bit limiting, bit so it all was up to the woman herself how much knowledge she wanted. So a lot of them grow this curiosity to look for knowledge, information, to start to collect all these experiences because due to the limitation they had, in their life. And that was a period which was like before the vision. Now we have a vision
Yeah.
that since
Yeah.
the Prince
MBS.
MBS, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, came to power in 2016, he created this vision for the Saudis. And this vision was one of, first, of course, reduce dependency on oil, diversify the economy, and so on. But one of the main objective of it was to change and reform the social aspects of life there. And one of it, empowering women, And this is here where the doors were open. Before it was limited. We had the guardianship system. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yes.
Yeah, the guardianship system and so on. But after this vision, it's like life has opened up.
Okay. I was going to talk about Saudi a bit
Yeah.
later, but since we are in Saudi, we talk about Saudi first before
Okay. Before
talking
we do,
about you being a
yeah,
collector.
because like this, you place me.
Yeah,
You can understand more or less.
I mean, you're not just Saudi; you're international. Okay, what amazes me is when I went to visit you. Is it last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, when I walked into Saudi, I went to Jeddah, where you live. The first night, we were in a rooftop rave party with all the music, with blasting. Everybody was dancing. I was flabbergasted because all we read is, well, in a Muslim country, you have to wrap around yourself. Remember, you have asked me years ago to come. I said, no, I don't want to come. I don't want to wrap myself up and all. And then, but this time I went without wrapping myself up. But the first thing I saw is music,
Yes.
dancing. But there I was in the midst of a big party at a rooftop. That was my first experience.
This is the
I mean,
first
I was totally, not just fair, I was shocked because this was completely a different image I would have known about what I would have imagined
About
about
Saudi.
Saudi.
Yeah.
Next thing is, as you know, I'm a foodie, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, the food is so good. The Japanese food is so good. The Japanese food there is better than in London.
Yeah.
I
It
mean, come
was.
on. I
Yeah.
mean, I could not believe that. So all that things, and then I saw. I mean, I started having different Saudi friends, Saudi women friends. They are all very knowledgeable. They're all like really good in business. They have a vision and they're strong. They're confident.
Very much.
Where did it come from?
Very
Because
much.
what we read and what I actually see and meet the people, of course, I'm not saying that everyone,
Yeah.
but we saw the young girls, they were working, they're very dynamic. I went to all this institution, they were all there, curators. It's completely a different image that I would
That's
have
what you
thought.
have. Exactly. But this is what we always suffered, the stereotype. People don't want to change that image. They still want to see the Saudi woman and keep that image in their mind that she's repressed, she's covered, she's not educated, she's just a follower, and all of that. And this is not true.
I mean, your sisters is all educated in
And
America,
yeah,
or
yeah, she was the first Saudi pediatrician from Georgetown University,
so
and
all
with
of the
honors. She graduated, got the American board, and this is where I wanna take you to this point where there is always the notion is that Saudi women share the same cultural experience and identity, and this is not true. This is not true from the olden day. This is not true because Saudi is very diversified culturally. It's very diversified. It has a different culture within one culture, but it all depends on the experience of each woman. Like what applies to you does not apply to me, and that depends on the region where they come from, the
no,
education,
but
but this
isn't
is
that because you guys are from the elite family? That's why
no,
you were
no,
being
no,
sent abroad to
no,
study?
no, because this is the again another thing is that we have developed because the education system at the very beginning, I'm talking about the 40s and the 50s, was a little bit just starting. We created the scholarship system, which was sending young boys and girls abroad for their education. And this system was very strong and kept on developing and evolving. And it included everybody, especially the middle class. And these are the ones that returned. And they are all now in leading positions because education was very important. Education was in the heart of every parent. Like
Like
my,
Chinese, like
yeah,
Asians,
yes,
or
exactly.
Jewish.
Yeah, education it was very important, and everybody wanted the best education for their kids. So either locally or internationally if they can afford it, or through the scholarship program. And we sent children to everywhere in the world. At the beginning, it was in the Western world. It was America, UK, Canada, and so on. But after they thought is that it's better to send them to different culture, so they started going to Japan, to the Far East, to North Africa, to many places, because the knowledge that they will get and the experience, it's gonna all kind of end up in Saudi, where it will push the and develop the country and the economy. So when the country opened up, everybody was ready. We did not need the expats. We did
No.
not to bring people like other countries. We did not need to do that. Now, all our young people and the new generation, they are in leading positions.
And also, what I was pretty impressed was when I was asking all the Saudi ladies, I said, "Oh, can you put up with your husband having 4 wives?" They all said to me, "They don't have 4 wives,
No.
only me,
Yeah.
1 wife.
Exactly.
We don't have. What is this that people is talking about?
Yeah.
It's not true."
No, it's not true.
Because it's a really, I think there's still a small percentage, but it's not
Not
everyone.
everybody. And basically, just a simple answer, they can't afford it. Now the demands of life, it's not like the same like before. And there is no need. Maybe at the beginning was to grow the population or for a reason, but now there is no need. And most of the couples, the boy and the man and the woman are all educated. So what applies to you applies to me. So if you make a choice, you want to have another life. I'm not. I have a choice as
For
well.
the audience to know, if you are not from Saudi, is when Basma mentioned the guardianship is whenever any woman before prior to the new rules is when they go get out of the country, they have to have a male person to sign off
Yes.
before they can get out of the country or to do anything. Besides that, they can't drive, right?
Yes.
And then now they're free. They
They're
are
totally.
entity, they are individual, they're independent. So you have woman minister, and then there's so many women. Okay, let's talk
Ambassadoress,
about
yeah.
the woman artist.
Yes,
in
the
Saudi.
woman artist.
I
yeah.
mean, there are so many women artists, much more than men and male artists in Saudi.
You
Why?
know, like let's say they are more or less equivalent to male artists.
But why?
But they were there from the very beginning. Like one of the first Saudi, from the first artists, was a Saudi woman where she did her first exhibition in '58.
Wow.
Yeah, she was Saudi. She went to, art school in Italy. But of course, this special case was supported by her family. But they allowed her to be who she wants.
So the family is not as traditional as what our perception has
Exactly.
been.
The perception is so wrong. Because they see the image that they have in the mind is like the black thing. Everybody's covered. Everybody is, like, so they must be not educated. They must be not exposed.
Oh,
and
by
so-
the way, in Jeddah, I was there. No woman was covered. Then I go to Riyadh. Riyadh was, I did see some women was covered. But then when I went to Alula,
yes.
Alula, the desert,
Yeah.
many women were
Yeah,
covered.
this is where I told you it's not all women share the same experience. We don't have all the same experience, and it's a very much a personal choice how much you want to cover, how much you want to. The main thing, the main rule is that you have to be respectfully dressed. That's the main rule. But how
I
much you
remember
cover.
one of our friends who wants to come, and she loves mini.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, you cannot wear.
Yeah, exactly. You have to respect the culture, and this is where the limitation happens. But the color, what you wear, what you put on your head, is varies, and it is a personal
But
choice.
I have to confess, among all the Middle Eastern country I've been, the only place that I want to come back is Saudi. I love Saudi.
Yeah.
It took me such a long time to visit. I was so reluctant
Yeah.
to visit, but I love that Alula.
It's a
just
culture.
that culture, and the artists are
Yeah.
really
Very
strong,
good, very
strong, and there's a lot of surprises there. Let's talk about you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, does your family collect?
No.
So
No.
how did you first start collecting, even with Wally, and your ex-husband?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you persuade him to collect art? Because
I never grow up with art. I never was in museums. I was never exposed to that, as a child. But then, it started by traveling. When we started to travel abroad, we started, visited museum, but not as art museum, mostly as part of the tour. Like you do
a culture,
a culture. Like if you
trip.
go to Paris, you see the Eiffel Tower, you have to pass by the Louvre.
Yeah.
But it's not like I wanted to go with my family to see the Louvre to look at the art. No, it was part of the tour. And this is where the interest started growing, is that seeing all these different museums, attending all these different exhibitions, the galleries, like a lot of, like Saatchi and that exhibition, the first exhibition for the
Chinese art?
no, the YPOs,
Oh, the
the
YPO across the
uh,
river.
no, not yeah, it was another one. I forgot the name right now. And there was a lot of scandal about it. It went to New York.
Oh no, it was in Royal Academy.
Yes,
That is called Sensation.
sensation.
Sensation was
Yes,
amazing.
and then it went to New York, and there
Yeah,
was
yeah,
all
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
hustle
New
about
York, they were closed
against
down at
yes,
PS1.
exactly. Sensation was, for me, was a turning point, seeing those all found objects that are turned into art.
And blood.
And blood and the shark, and all of these things were very new experience for me. But I started at the beginning with a learning trip. Is just to watch, to look, to experience, to see, and started noticing what other people have.
But your first painting is the David Hockney. I mean, your budget is very high
No,
because
it
whenever
was not at that time.
I mean, but whenever people start buying when they begin,
Yes.
they buy younger artists. They don't buy a David Hockney.
Yeah,
Okay,
I didn't.
David Hockney at
yeah,
the time, at least if it is not hundreds of thousands, it's ten of thousands.
Yeah, yeah. At that
Right?
time, I had absolutely no clue who's David Hockney. Nothing.
And how-
I just felt the attraction. I've at that time bought Hockney, and I bought a Stella.
Oh,
French
Stella.
Stella as
what
well.
what sort of Stella?
It was like not
Geograph-
geometrical
geometric.
designs, And Hockney, I was attracted to the colors, to the subject. I still remember we paid for it at that time $60,000.
Very cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at that time.
But at the time, 60,000 is a lot.
As a lot, in the 90s, that was what I
a
still
lot.
remember the amount that we paid for it. And then, like from there on, my curiosity grew, and I wanted to explore more. So I started to attend. First, it was classic art, because my ex, my Walid, he wanted more because he was more comfortable,
Yeah.
in art that was also,
Not
like
sensation.
not
Not
sensational.
sensational.
Definitely,
Yeah.
he never
Like
liked that kind.
sensational,
Yes,
yeah.
that kind of art. So we were more into classic, like Venice scene, landscape,
Calavaggia, yeah.
but not so
Canaletto.
important.
Yeah.
Canaletto, he
Yeah,
loved Canaletto, but
Canaletto.
we never went into that price range, even at that time. But it was this kind of scene, like ships, water, things that what you see is what you get. I was more curious about other things.
contemporary.
Yeah, the contemporary. So when I started buying this, he was not very happy. Like, what is this? Like this, anybody can do it.
Yeah, yeah,
anyone
this is a
can.
common
This is
comment.
common.
Yeah.
My child can do that.
Yeah.
It's not. But I loved it. I loved that art, and I felt I had this connection. And this was the beginning, is experimenting without knowledge or education. But of course, after the course in Christie's in 2000, my perception to art was changed. And in the same time, I was alone. By that time, I was a single mother, so I was able to do the art travel. So I traveled with like Roger Bevan for different art trips, and then started doing courses, attending more like more advanced shows. Like one of the shows that I still remember was Africa Remix, where
I love that
yeah,
show.
can you
in Pompidou? I was there every day for 5 days.
And this is where I was introduced to
I
Annette
love
Soy.
it. Yeah, I love
That's,
that
yeah, yeah. That
show.
was one of the things, and they were all avant-garde. Avant-garde.
It
Everything
was such a
yeah. I
oh,
love
it
that.
was this was my best loving show.
Yes, I love that show. Me too. And it
was
here.
early 2000.
Yeah, it was here in the Hayward.
No, I saw it in
You saw it in
Pompidou.
Yeah, I saw it here in the Hayward. And and from there on, I started looking into emerging art that's coming from different culture. India impacted me very much, my trips to India, because this is where I
You
learned.
went with Melissa, right?
I went with Melissa and I went with Amin Jafar
Yeah.
as well. Different trips, two different trips.
Is it
One,
different, the
yeah,
feeling?
yes, yes, because
The
with
visits are different.
yeah, yeah, the experiences were different. With Melissa, it was more, combining art, culture, heritage, all of that. With Amin, it was focused on contemporary art. Yeah, and I remember visiting beautiful collection, like a Podem and all of these people. And here where I learned about commission work, because most of them, to support their artists, to support the Indian artists, what they did, a lot of these big families and big foundation commissioned works.
That's
So
how you commission the Saudi work, right?
exactly, this is where I learned about commissioning, and this is where I said, okay, let me do the same. Why not? And I went back with this notion and I started dealing. At that time, the artists were still, uh, I mean, not limited. They were producing, but on a smaller scale, domestic size, where they wanted to do just to make ends meet. It was not like really a big scene like today. And from there on, I built the Saudi collection. I started buying everything that comes to auction that nobody wants to buy. The Saudi.
Really? There's
Yeah.
no one wants to buy.
Yes, yes. Like one of the most important piece came to auction during COVID, and nobody, bid on it. So I was very happy to be the one, and I got it. And things like that. And I started, collecting Saudi with a focus and a vision, and international art, which I bought what I loved.
Okay, let's talk about your chronological. Okay, so what you start collecting because you love it. You want to decorate your house.
Yes.
You never collect before investment,
No.
which is amazing because you buy because your heart likes.
Yes.
I think a lot of collectors has learned because that's how you find the best,
Yeah.
the best of art. Then after that, you went for your course. You start loving Chinese. During the time when you are building your Chinese collection, you are also curious about other contemporary art.
Yes.
So when do you actually started with your Saudi collection?
I started after my trip to India, because before that I bought bits and pieces but without focus. But after the trip to India, which was like around 2005, something like that, I started collecting with a focus.
You learn from the other
I
collectors.
learned from the other collector. And nobody was doing it, like nobody was doing this thing except in India. They were the ones that commissioned site specific artworks.
But I saw all your site-specific artwork 2 years ago at the museum at the Alula.
Alala, yes.
Yeah, because you
yes.
have all those big installation work, which I don't see. If it's not in the museum, it's in your storage.
Exactly, exactly. But that was the thing, is that I wanted to build artwork for an institution. The Saudi artwork, I wanted to build a collection for as an institution.
So, are you going to open an institution for yourself in Saudi?
Well, it's a big question, like, and this is, I've been.
Because all you need is just to get a warehouse and put your things in.
Yes, exactly,
It's
exactly.
not really, at least you have few staff that people come in can see the work.
Yeah, I've
which
been
will be
offered. I've been offered.
which will be splendid.
Exactly, I've been offered a space that I can have. It is one of my projects. This is something in the pipeline. I'm trying. I'm still working on it, but definitely I'm gonna go down that
Because
route.
Basma, as you know, I'm very interested in cultural dialogue. What I see in you is I can't even call you a Saudi. You are international. You are like a person with a different passport, because what is great about you are a universe person is there's no discrimination about any culture, but because you recognize yourself as a Saudi, you're promoting and pushing Saudi for other people to know. So your collection would be an international artist having a dialogue with a Saudi artist. And that is what I would love to see in your collection, because this is who you are and what you are. And it's really important to have
Yeah.
all that what you're showing, because it's your mind, it's this cross-cultural dialogue, which is really important to me. Actually, this is soft power. This
Yeah.
is the way for
Of
world
course.
peace.
Of course. You know, this is what I did with my museum shows, because they were a curated show in in the virtual museum, and was always based on this cultural dialogue. What the Saudis thought of a certain subject and what other artists thought of in the same time. And it was this dialogue which was very interesting. But you know, in a virtual world, it is interesting. People can flicker through the internet, but it's different when they experience it physically.
Of course, you have
And
the
this
in
is where,
flesh is
yes,
really different.
exactly, exactly. And
It's
this
very
is where
different.
eventually I'm going down that route. You know, I would love to one day have that physical space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to.
So through your whole journey, becoming who you are now, what are you looking forward? What is your future? How are you going to build your future within?
The art world.
Yeah, not just within the art world, in Saudi.
And
Saudi, you're finding your voice. A woman is giving a voice, you're giving a voice, and you are really deep rooted in art and culture. How do you see yourself in the next
I
2 decades?
yes, I have a responsibility. I feel is that I have a big responsibility where I need to give part of the experience I had. And I think one of that is to be committed to my society, community, to my people, is that to pass this information or this knowledge, let's say not information but knowledge, to pass this knowledge to them through every possible way. So what I have done recently is create an educational platform on social media, and this is targeting the mass. I don't want the elitist.
Yeah.
I want everybody. I want everyone can open this link or this social media platform and look at the art and find it not only accessible but find it possible to understand. So I created the platform with the art information, art education, creating videos about artists, to start with, like local artists, our artists that not everybody knows about them.
No, this
You
is
know, and this
great.
is the thing. So they need to be visible. People needs to know them, need to be exposed to what they do, to their accomplishment. So I took it upon myself is that to pass this knowledge and information to the mass, locally and internationally. So I do it in two languages, English and Arabic. You know, so it can serve, you know, the locals and the international world to be exposed to what is happening in our part of the world. I'm still at the beginning, you know, but this is like now is my passion. You know, so I'm always looking for new opportunities, new things to introduce, a new way to produce, either it's films or reels, short reels, because don't forget as well, Pearl, now people have a short span.
Yes,
So
very short span.
you cannot, you know, load them with so much information.
That's why TikTok works.
Yes,
Because it's very
yes.
short and it's
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah, I also have a platform in TikTok, Facebook,
Instagram.
Instagram, and on X as well. You know, so I'm trying to do that as my own social contribution, and I do it. It's non for profit, so I don't benefit. Are no ads or anything. I just do it. You
So
know.
tell me more about your philanthropic work, because you have been doing a lot of philanthropy.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
You know, for me was the main thing is to promote Saudi and Saudi artists. So I've started from like long time ago. Much before that, I started working with different because I thought it was impossible to place like artists within museums, collections, and to expose them to the rest of the world. So I started donating works from Saudi artists to museums.
Okay.
And I do this is a project that I embarked on, and it's very close to my heart. Pearl, I lost Muhammad, my
Yes.
son,
Yeah.
about
10 years now?
2012.
Oh,
2012.
12 years.
12,
Great.
yeah, 12 years ago. I lost Muhammad. And I do all these things because I want to keep his legacy alive. And I want his name to be alive. I don't want his name to disappear. Like sometimes people, if they lose dear ones, they just don't want it to be reminded of them. For me, I
You
feel
want his name to
name
be
to be
in memory of
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 yeah
yeah,
of him,
of him.
in something beautiful, in something nice, so I do all my these donations, all my artwork that I kind of like loan or donate or do any work is always in his memory. And this makes me happy because two things that I love the most, is the artwork and my son, that I lost. So and it always makes me happy when I see the artwork and I see the dedication, So this has been part of my philanthropy and my contribution, and I support artists in their journey, in their residency, in a lot of work, and I really am happy doing that, and especially now that I see the fruit of what we have done, like. I don't know if you know the big show in Christie's for one of the Saudi artists.
Yeah, you asked me to go.
Yeah, you have to go and see it. It's remarkable. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's
All
go
right.
in these coming
Oh,
2 days,
No, tomorrow I'm leaving, remember?
When are you
Yeah.
coming? Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you will be back.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're back.
So next week we can go.
Next week we'll go because really something I'm so proud of.
Okay.
It's really a great, great show. So all of these now after the vision, and now after all these major changes and the big support that the government is giving, it's incredible the support that the art and the artists are having nowadays. They have exposure, they have support, education,
Yeah, I
everything.
was told the Riyadh biennial is so much better than the Shanghai biennial because Riyadh biennial has lots of money, huge budget
Yeah.
to make it the most successful. The second one was very good, I was told.
Yes, it's
That is
beautiful.
that is why I have to come back to
Yeah,
Saudi maybe
because
December.
because in January would be better but
January
you have the
cannot.
Chinese.
Cannot.
But because in January we have the Islamic.
I can come
Biennale.
after in March.
Maybe
or something.
February or March,
Yeah, something
because
like that.
it's beautiful and it's based on a new concept. It's different from all the Biennale. So, and Amin Jafar is the curator this
I
year.
know, I know.
Yes,
I know.
yeah. So it's a lot of things are happening. A lot of projects in as well in Alola, and for me, it's important to see all these development, to see all these, I mean, this level of maturity that is happening.
It's very fast as well.
It's very fast, yeah, because everything was ready, and it's really amazing. And personally, for me, I would love to continue my journey. My journey is started, and Pearl, it's challenging, because I don't want to reach one day a point where I say, oh, what am I gonna do next? No, I have to think of 2-3 projects already in
That's
the
how
same.
exciting.
Yes, exactly. To continue, to be able to face the second phase, the third phase, the fourth phase. So I hope I will find the next one now soon.
At this point, I have to thank you, Basma, for the time that I spent here speaking about Saudi art world and your journey. It's beautiful. Thank you, Basma.
Thank you, Pearl, for this opportunity. Really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thanks.